spaghetti sauce lesson. So I'm starting with, I've got a lot of tomatoes. I'll tell you how much in a bit. So you see how much meat. Anyways, that's the smallest pork roast I could get. That's a pork shoulder, pork butt. So it's got a lot of fat and it's really nice for the sauce. I couldn't get a tiny, small enough beef roast. So I got these braising beef, sort of like a steak, but it's to be cooked for a long time kind of beef. So I got that one, and that one I figure it probably adds up close to a small roast beef. And I think I'm going to add maybe just a little bit of like beef bouillon or beef concentrate or something, just to make up what this might be missing. Anyway, browning all the meat and putting it aside, and then I will soften the onions in this same pan after the meat is brown. I've chopped up all my onions. It's a lot of onions. I think that's about 6, because I've got maybe 6 cans of tomato and 3 bottles of passata, which is just strained tomatoes. So I didn't actually put like 1 onion per can of tomato, but a lot anyways, because that's a lot of sauce to flavor. So that's where I am now, so I'll show you what's next in a second. This is what I use for tomatoes, crushed tomatoes. I don't care about the brand. I'd love to be able to use the higher quality tomatoes from Italy, but they're too expensive, so I use whatever brand is on sale. But it's crushed tomatoes, and this is what passata looks like. It's just a bottle. It's got a little bit less amount than the cans do. I really love passata. It's smooth and everything is strained out of it. So I love that. So I don't know, I'm making a lot today. So I've got maybe 6 or 8 cans of tomatoes, 6 maybe, and 3 bottles of passata. I used to make about 10 cans of tomatoes at once, but I think I'm doing a little bit less this time. Anyways, that's what I buy. So I've turned my heat down. I've got the onions in. I put it right into all that grease from the meat. And normally I brown my meat and do my onions and everything right in the big pot that I use, but I find it takes so long, and I think maybe it's got to do with the high sides or just the conductivity of stainless steel. So I thought this time I would try doing it in my cast iron, and it's going so much faster. The browning's going so much faster. Probably took me less than half the time it normally takes in the big pot. So I took the meat out, put the onions right in with this fat, added salt. I'll add some pepper. After they get a bit softer, I'll add a bunch of crushed garlic. I'm not crushing it myself. I'm just using stuff from a jar. And so salt, pepper, garlic, and then I'll dump all of this into the pot that I'm going to make the sauce in. So that's where we are right now. Okay, that's the onions done. See, they look good. I've dumped in a whole bunch of crushed garlic and just warming that up just to get the flavor coming out of it. And now I'm going to start dumping everything into the big pot. So I'll show you that in a second. I'll show you what I do when, how do people do this with one hand? With the tomatoes. So after I dump it in the pot, get out everything that I can, then I add water and I use it to rinse the cans. So I'll just sorry, I'm shit at this. Just kind of let the water run around the can and get the sides. And then, so I've got like just under half a can. I wouldn't add any more of that. And you just kind of slosh that around. I might put my spatula in it and stir the tomato up off the bottom. Because I don't want to waste any of that, right? Because when you get that many cans, that's a fair amount. So yeah, so most of it, I'll probably get the rest of that out with the spatula. And you can add bits of water like that, like I said, third to half a can most, because this thick tomato paste is going to make up for that water. So it's good. It gets everything out of your can, and it needs that extra bit of water anyways. So, okay. You see, that's my biggest pot. I don't know, that's at least 12 inches high and pretty big around. So you see how much that's just the tomato sauce paste and passata. It's not the meat yet. So the meat is gonna make it come up quite a bit. So that's a fair bit of sauce I've got here. So I'm gonna add the meat, and I'll add all the juice and blood and stuff that's stripped out of there, because that's the flavor that we want, right? So, whoops. Thing I hate most about making sauce, it's such a mess. Such a mess. So anyways, that's, I'm gonna add some mixed herbs. And hang on, for you guys, I add a little bit of baking soda to my sauce. You can see how it's bubbling up. You know how tomatoes are so acidic? Well, some people add sugar to help camouflage that. I don't really like sugar in my sauce, so I learned this trick with baking soda, and it neutralizes. You can see it's, can you see? Anyways, can't see in the camera so much, but it's all foaming up. So I start with, I start with just a little bit, like maybe in this whole pot, maybe I put like half a teaspoon, and I stir it and let it cook for a couple of hours, and then I taste it again. And I think probably today I've added about between half a tablespoon and a tablespoon to this big pot. You have to be so careful, because if you add too much, oh my God, it tastes awful, and then you can't get rid of the taste. That's better. It mellows it out, and I mean, it's still acidic, but it's not as bad. But I just thought I'd show you. So this has been cooking. It's 5 o'clock, and this probably didn't really come up to a boil, well, a simmer, until around noon. So it's only been going about 5 hours, but you can see how much has boiled down. I don't put a lid on it, and I keep it on as low as it'll go, because it will stick and scorch to the bottom. And I stir it about every 15-20 minutes all day long, and I'll let this go until I go to bed, and then I'll put a lid on it and turn it off overnight, and it still won't be cool in the morning. So I will probably cook it a little bit more tomorrow before I let it start to cool down. Probably take a day to cool down. I usually like to make it in the cold months so I can put it outside on the balcony, or when I was in the house, I put it in the garage and let it cool down faster. It's way too big to put in the fridge. But it's pretty warm out right now, so I might just have to let it cool in here. And I've still got the roast in it. You can see there, still cooking away, but I feel like it's not ready. So I'll see what it's like when I go to bed at 11, if I turn it off, or, well, I'll turn it off to go to bed, but I'll see if it's done or not. And it's all just by taste, what you like. I mean, it's ready to go now if you want to eat it. I like the long, slow simmer, because I think it just gets more flavor and milder. And oh, and there's my bottle of olive oil. Now that's a small bottle, 500 mils, so that's about 2 cups. So I've put about a cup of oil in it so far, and I still might put more. We'll see. That's all to taste. It's just, I like what it does to the sauce. So I like a lot, but I add it a little bit at a time and just see. It's, you know, it's all by what you like. You can make this as simple or as complex as you like. I mean, nothing about it's hard. It's just time and patience. And then once it cools, I will spoon it into Ziploc bags and lay it flat to let all those bags freeze. Anyways, I'll show you. We'll see how many bags I get out of it when I get to that point. All right, babies. Love you all. Hope this helps you. Hi, guys. You probably can't really tell in this video. It's probably pointless to show you. But the sauce, I finished cooking it last night about 10:30. I turned it off. It's darker now. So that's kind of how I like it to be done. Once it gets to the point that it's, I wonder if I turn this light off. Not really. By the time it gets really dark like that, that's how I like it. So that was simmering more than 12 hours. And it's cooked way down. I've taken a little bit out to send up to Ron for sandwiches with the meat. So there's a little bit gone. So it's cooled. It's 11:30 now. It's cooled. Turned it off at 10:30 and it's cool enough now to bag. Always take the meat out to let it cool. Don't let the meat sit in there. You wouldn't want to risk anything with the meat. So I take the meat out, let it cool on its own, and then get it in the fridge. And then I just let this sit on the stove overnight. If it was cool outside, I would have had it outside on the balcony. If it was like refrigerator cold outside, but it's fine. It's, you know, when I got up this morning at 5 o'clock, it was still hot. So it's cool enough now, though. I kept stirring it like throughout the morning to, you know, stir it up so it would cool faster. So I'm going to bag it up now, and then we'll see how much I get. Okay. Here's a little tip for filling the bags. These, I'm just doing like sandwich size storage bags. I guess they're called, what are they called? Medium, is that what it says? I think it's medium size. Anyways, the smaller Ziplocs. I can't see it because that side's French and it isn't. Yeah, medium. Anyways, the smaller of the Ziploc freezer bags. So I'm just doing those, and I use this ladle, and I put 2 of those ladles into this bag, which end up looking like this. And when I zip them, like, I press it and get the air out so they seal nice and flat. And I'll just put them all on this tray and put it in the freezer, and then they will just freeze flat, and then I can take them off the tray and I can stand them up in like sort of a thing like this, right? That it just takes up less room. Anyways, I've got 5. I'm on my 6th one now. So when I'm done, I'll let you know how many I have done, but I thought I'd show you this little tip. If you use the bigger bags, the gallon size bags, just use a bigger bowl. But I sit the bag in a bowl because then it'll stand up. So then when I ladle the stuff in, it's easier than the bag falling all over. If I try to hold the bag with one hand and fill it with the other, I just get in a mess. So anyways, thought I'd show you that little tip. Next thing I'll show you is how many I have. If I forgot to say, I put in these little bags 3 ladles full. I think that's more than enough just for me. So I put 3 ladles and I measured it, and it adds up to about 2 cups. So each one of these bags has about 2 cups. So probably for 2 of you, you'd want 2, or if you have the bigger bag, you know, it depends how much sauce you like. But the other tip is to fold the top over like this. It helps it stand, but it also, you want to keep that zipper area clean or it won't seal very good, right? So when you fold it over, then all your mess goes inside. Okay. Sorry for the crappy filming. I'm not used to this. Okay, bye. So there it is, guys, all ready to go in the freezer. I've got 19 bags that have 2 cups in them. This one has a little bit more because it's what was left in the pot. And I gave some to Ron with the meat, and I had some for dinner. So I probably have had 20 2-cup bags. So, and that was 8 cans of tomatoes. So that's how many I get. So these are all ready to go in the freezer, and it'll probably take a couple days because I've got them stacked. But just when you're doing this, make sure they're flat. Like, you don't want anything like that to happen, or else they kind of interlock with each other. Make sure they're nice and flat. And that's it, all ready to go.